3 laps to go because Adamo already over the line. So too Langenfelder. That gap going back out to almost 5 seconds. This is 3rd and 4th. It's going to be a long 3 laps for the 24. Oh, does this feel like the longest race ever for Hogmo? Back end, misbehaving at the end of pit lane. He's messed up on the exit, and Everts goes through. That's going to knock him off the podium. Oh, and his bike's gone. Oh, Hogmo has a problem with the machine because he's nowhere to be seen, and Everts goes through into 3rd. Heartbreak for Kevin Hogmo. Can't believe it. What a way for his Swedish Grand Prix to end. Watch this here, gets on the gas, and then all of a sudden, he was already offline anyway, but gets to the turn here. And then the bike just gave up on him. Well, that's the podium decided, and he can't believe it. Wow, not the way he wanted that to end. Hogmo out of 3rd and out of the race. Liam Everts now 3rd, gives him another couple of points in his push for the championship. Andrea Adamo capitalising from a good start this time around, and turning it into what looks like is going to be a race win. Look at the rain falling again. Wasn't supposed to rain this afternoon, but as we heard earlier from Simon Langenfelder, his weather app was lying to him when it said it was supposed to rain and then didn't. He normally relishes these kind of conditions, doesn't he? But with 2 laps to go, has he bitten off more than he can chew? Is Adamo just going to keep this pace up and risk versus reward 25 points as opposed to a safe 2nd by backing off and being allowed to be caught by Langenfelder? Here's Elzinga. He is in 5th position at the moment, and is tied with Adamo, but he's going to lose out. He's going to be 4th overall, but he's unfortunately 3 seconds behind McClellan. So if McClellan just makes a mistake and allows Elzinga to get close or even make his move by him, then he's going to be on the podium 3rd overall, but it's going to be 4th for Elzinga. The old Elzinga burger must pass 2 laps. That's what the message is. Still going to be a career best for him in MX2 in his rookie season if he stays where he is. Rick Elzinga. McClellan just ahead of him, look. Tantalisingly close. Can he dig deep? Just over a lap to go. Problem is now, though, the rain coming down so hard. Any dry parts of the racetrack that were just starting to polish up, just starting to get shiny, they're going to be the treacherous lines. They're going to be the unpredictable lines with no traction, and you won't know until the thing comes around on you and spits you out the side. Here's Adamo getting ready to take the 1 lap board. Langenfelder is closing in on him, and he's got traffic ahead of him. William Voksen-Clement from Denmark, and look at him just trying to freak him out there with that big panic rev at the end of the pit lane there. 2 seconds between them. Is there going to be one last push here? As Clement and Chabati ignoring any warnings that the leaders are coming through. Langenfelder does go through. It's a shootout to the flag now between Adamo and Langenfelder. Final lap. Can Adamo see this one through and take his 4th race win of the season? Langenfelder's getting close. He is within striking distance, and all of a sudden, Adamo knows that he's there, and he's going to be rattled by the hard charging the hard-charging Langenfelder. Whoa, I tell you what, this is a fantastic final lap for the German. Is he just going to run out of time? Has he left his charge too late? He loves these conditions, and when it rains, the harder and faster Langenfelder seems to go. Adamo not going to make it easy for him, though. Handful of corners remain on this final lap. And if he does find his way by, Adamo's off the podium. Elzinga will take the third step. Oh, I'll tell you what, I think he's just going to run out of time, you know. Unless there's a mistake. And there was a mistake. He just buried it, and he knows it as well. And there's traffic ahead. Back marker moves out of the way, hopefully. But Adamo, through the final turn, crucial that he wins the race. He does. He takes his fourth race win of the season. That gets him on the podium as well. Third overall. Simon Langenfelder just checking, do I still win the Grand Prix? Yes, you do. And he's absolutely pumped with that. His second win of the season for Simon Langenfelder. Not sure what that is there, but he's having a word with Kleeman. Look, telling him you got in the way. It's not the first time, though, to be fair. We've seen it quite a few times, haven't we, where they ignore the blue flags and they just kind of carry on with their own race. And Langenfelder feeling that it cost him 25 points and a double race win today. But he still wins the Grand Prix. Liam Everts will be second overall with a 2-3. And Adamo with a 10-1 on the podium, third overall. And Braceras getting just missing out there in sixth place. Elzinga getting caught. A frustrated Braceras. But Adamo wins it from Langenfelder, Everts, McClellan, Elzinga, Braceras, Gifting, Sasha Kunin, Emil Weckman, and Jan Panzer. We're still waiting for a couple of those guys to come through. That it's going to be 80 points a gap between Andrea Adamo and Liam Everts. Just waiting for a few more guys to come through, but Simon Langenfelder feeling that he was hard done by on that final lap as William Voxen Kleeman, the back marker, he felt like he impeded him. And he made that known to the Dane as well. Anyway, here is our round winner, our Grand Prix winner for the second time this season. Here's Simon Langenfelder with Lisa.
Simon Langenfelder, a race win and a second to get your second overall of the season. That was an eventful second race there.
Oh yeah, for sure. In the start I got tangled a little bit, but then I could be fourth or third. I could pass myself to second, and then I went after Adamo, but unfortunately didn't happen. The lappers made it a little bit better for me, but they didn't stay out of the way. So yeah, it was a difficult last few laps, but I'm really, really happy to take the overall, and that's so awesome.
Great job, Simon. Thank you.
Simon Langenfelder then the overall winner here this weekend, the MXGP of Sweden. A little bit of back market issues on the final lap there, but in the end, a 1-2, good enough for the top step for the second time this season. 5 podiums in a row now for the Red Bull Gas rider. And that was the moment he realised right there, look. Shame for the weather. But Andrea Adamo picking up the race win in race 2. His fourth win of the campaign, edging out Langenfelder, Everts, McClellan, Elzinga, Braceras, Gifting, and Sasha Kunin. Weckman and Jan Panzer ran out the top 10. Then we had Tim Edberg, Philip Olsen, Elriel Oliver, Arvid Luning, William Voxen Kleeman, and Lorenzo Ciabatti. With Valeri and Alfarisi down there at the back end of the field. The overall classification, though, Simon Langenfelder for the second time this season. 6 podiums now, 5 in a row for the German. Liam Everts, second overall. Adamo, the championship leader, third. And then we've got Elzinga and McClellan rounding out the top 5. Tim Edberg, look, 11th overall in his home Grand Prix, riding as a wild card. But Kevin Horgmo down there in 12th place was eyeing up the podium before he had that drama on that lap. Adamo, 80 points clear of Liam Everts, who moves to second. Jago Kiet's not here this weekend. Championship pretty much done. Langenfelder 4th and De Wolf 5th. De Wolf also not here, or Beneston. Koonen didn't ride today, and Van der Moosdijk also injured. Talk about a depleted field. And then Horgmo, 9th in the championship. Elzinga up to 10th now. But he was so close to a podium, tied on points, 4th overall this weekend with Adamo. KTM leapfrog Husqvarna in the manufacturer's standings. Yamaha continue to lead the way. Take a look at the foxhole shot, shall we? Just by a gnat's knacker, if I can say that. Kevin Horgmo. He would rather be anywhere else. In fact, he'd rather be on the podium than collecting that black plate. It's nice. He's got 3 of them now, though. But how cool would it have been to see him on the podium with the flag, celebrate in front of his fans here. Well, it's absolutely teeming down here. Andrea Adamo, 3rd overall, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. With a 10-1 this weekend. 2nd overall, Liam Everts, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. With a 2nd and a 3rd. But for the 2nd time this year, on the top step of the podium, Simon Langenfelder, Red Bull Gas Factory Racing. And does it with a 1-2 here in Uddevalla. Neither of these 3 have won here in Sweden before. Last year's winner, Jago Kiet's not here. Davide De Carli, team manager, up there, all smiles for the 2nd time this season. Hakan Lehmann, the FIM board member, delivering the trophies in the shape of the country there. Look, 3rd overall for Andrea Adamo, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Gosta Dahlberg, Uddevalla Municipal Board member, delivers a 2nd place trophy to Liam Everts, 2nd overall this weekend. On what is the 25th running of this Grand Prix here in Uddevalla. Martin Pettersson, Uddevalla Municipal Board Chairman. Again, we can't do this race without the dignitaries and the local support from the local community. Simon Langenfelder celebrates on the top step of the podium here in Sweden. Umbrella, anybody? Davide De Carli picking up the team award for Red Bull Gas Factory Racing, and Antonio Alia Portella, the FIM CMS director, getting ready to deliver the championship leaders red plate to Andrea Adamo, who continues to lead and has extended his lead at the top of the championship to 80 points now as we head to round 16 at Arnhem in the Netherlands in 1 week's time. Simon Langenfelder reigns here in Sweden His second Grand Prix victory of the season, his third career Grand Prix victory on the Red Bull Gas, edging out Liam Everts and Andrea Adamo, the two Red Bull KTM riders. We'll talk to the top three in a few moments after we've seen the highlights from MX2 Race 2. Here's what happened there in MX2 Race 2 under brighter conditions and a fast drying racetrack that had just been prepped in the break. Kevin Horgmo with his third black plate of the campaign, but he lost out by turn 2, and Everts just losing out there at the top of the hill as well as he got shuffled back to about 6th place. Horgmo, though, by the time we got out of turn 2, was leading the way from Adamo, Langenfelder and Sasha Kunin. Isaac Gifting going around the outside of Oriol Oliveira. That was for 8th place early on. He then went after Sasha Kunin. Elzinger was just behind them. That was his top 3 in the race, but then Sasha Kunin, he fell from 7th, picked himself up in 9th. That was on lap 3. He eventually came home in 8th place. Then Adamo just chucked his KTM down the inside of Kevin Horgmo to take over the lead, and a couple of corners later, Langenfelder was also as ruthless as he pushed the Norwegian back into 3rd. David Braceras and Camden McClellan battled. McClellan eventually coming home in 4th position. That was for 5th, though. And then Elzinger also tried and went round the outside of Braceras. Gifting tried as well, but then he failed in his attempt. He picked himself up in 7th. And the reason why is because Kevin Horgmo here, who was in 3rd and then got offline. Everts went by him, and then his bike just let go here. And that was heartbreak for Horgmo. That promoted people behind him, but it was Adamo from Langenfelder, the way that it finished in race 2. Langenfelder, though, picking up the Grand Prix victory with that, and here he is with Lisa.
Simon Langenfelder, second overall of the season. That second race, that fantastic final lap for you, but I guess just ran out of time at the end.
Yeah, I was pushing in the end. The track got slippery, and I liked it more, so I could go maybe even a little bit faster than Adamo. I catched up on him, but unfortunately it was, I went into the mud before that jump, and otherwise then I would be on the outside, so it would be difficult anyway. But I'm super happy to take my second overall of the season and go home with another trophy.
Great job, Simon. Thank you. Second overall today, we have Liam Everts. Liam, second in that first race, had a lot more work to do in that second race. Horgmo didn't make it easy for you, but you got the job done.
Yeah, the two FNH guys, they made life difficult, but I mean, it was fun racing. I had great fun this weekend, and I felt fast, and shame I wasn't up there in the beginning. I felt I had the speed to compete with Andrea and Simon today, but it's the way it is. Another podium, P2 today, and super happy, and we're going to keep on pushing.
Thank you. Third overall today, we have Andrea Adamo. Andrea, 2 totally different races for you. Tough first race, but that second race you managed to turn things around. Good start, and picked up the race win. Tell us about your weekend.
Yeah, in the end of the weekend, I mean, the weekend was like 50-50. Was really 2 different phases. Difficult start. I start last on first moto and was only 1 line. I couldn't pass, and I didn't want to take too much risk, you know. But I lose quite a lot of points on Liam. But then second moto I went all in because the track was better, everything was better. I had a better start, so I went all in and I won the moto. I'm so happy, and thanks everybody, the team, for a nice work, and let's go for the next one.
Great job, thank you.
Third overall then for Andrea Adamo. Despite a 10 in race 1, he followed that up with a race win in race 2, and he extends his lead at the top of the championship. Remember, he came here 60 points clear. It's now 80 points as Everts moves into second position in the championship. Liam Everts, second overall this weekend. Another fantastic Grand Prix for him. His 6th podium of the season. Back-to-back podiums for him as well for the 2nd time this year. But didn't make the best start, and he paid the price for it as well. Couldn't go with these guys. But Simon Langenfelder, a win and a second. The Red Bull Gas rider with his 3rd career victory, his 2nd of the season. Fantastic job to Simon Langenfelder. Not easy conditions in the end of race 2, but he caught Adamo, just ran out of time. But he'll be looking forward to going to the sand in Arnhem, I'm sure. Right, we'll be back in just a few seconds. MXGP Race 2 up next.
Drinking at the bottle, not thinking about tomorrow. Don't worry, that's the motto, so we keep moving along.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Uddevalla, round 15 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. We're at the MXGP of Sweden with me, Paul Malin, and the rest of the gang. We're in the southwest of the country, about an hour away from Gothenburg. Beautiful conditions leading into this race, but anything but that right now ahead of MXGP Race 2. It's the 25th running of this GP here in this part of the world, at this racetrack pretty much. The first event back in 1958. Sten Lundin of Sweden was the winner that day. There's only ever been 2 Swedish winners. Bill Nilsson, the other rider. And obviously it's not over until it's over, and that was the moniker before the start of MXGP Race 1. Roman Febvre with a lot of work to do, playing catch-up if he's to do anything about the lead from Jorge Prado, who is the runaway leader at the moment in this MXGP class. You'll see the Race 1 highlights in a few moments' time, but we've just had a massive downpour of rain. It's just starting to ease back a little bit here, but you can see the shiny circuit. That's where it's going to be slick. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for the MXGP riders here on a racetrack that was fast drying in Race 1, and that race line becoming very narrow. With the crew that have been working on the track between the races, the line was opened up for MX2 Race 2, and it was drying out quickly again. But with this rain now, anything goes, anything can happen. It's going to be, well, bravery will be rewarded, to put it that way. The racetrack here just over 1,600 meters long. And as you can see, they're the remnants of overnight rain to the inside. You can hear the MXGP riders on track, but that's how hard it's raining. It's still mild out here, 18 degrees. Got a little bit of humid feel about it as well. But it's going to be a real challenge for the riders. Visibility will play its part as well. Goggles is going to be a nightmare. But if you weren't with us earlier on in the day, here's what happened in MXGP Race 1. Here's our highlights from that first MXGP race. Roman Febvre, gate 6 or 7 over. Watch what happens when he hits the brakes here. Back end just stepped out, but it didn't stop him from bagging the foxhole shot for the 4th time this season. His main rival, Jorge Prado, was right there behind him. Paul Jonas was in there in 4th place behind the 91 of Jeremy Seewer. And then Tim Geiser was buried, so too was Jeffrey Hurlings. But leading the way, this was Geiser trying to go from 8th to 7th as he was closing in on Maxime Renault. He tipped over from 8th, eventually came home in 10th place. Jeffrey Hurlings, who had a little bit of damage from contact with Geiser earlier on in the race, he then started to find his rhythm, found his way past Alvin Osland. That put him up a position into, what, 10th or 11th place. Then Prado capitalised on this mistake from Roman Febvre. He'd already made a mistake earlier, tried to get the hammer down, but paid the price. Picked himself up in 2nd and stayed there as Koldenhoff went by Mitch Evans. Evans then on the final lap made a mistake, and that allowed Hurlings to find a way through into 8th place. Maxime Renault thought he could jump long past Jeri Havisto, but ran out of room, landed in the rut, tipped over. And then this was Koldenhoff going by Fernandez. This was about 3 laps to go to get him into 5th place. Hard charge through the field. And Albi Ferrato on Mitch Evans. That put him up on his way to 7th ahead of Hurlings. But it was Jorge Prado with his 12th race win of the season from Febvre, Seewer, Jonas and Koldenhoff. Well, as the rain continues to fall here, Lisa Leyland was down on the grid. I'm not sure if she found an umbrella or not. We'll give her a sponsor, Frizzies. But the JK Racing Yamaha rider, Kevin Brumman, was her victim.
We're almost ready for the final race of the day, MXGP Race 2, but let's catch up with Kevin Brumman. Kevin, that first race, that was quite a difficult one for you. You weren't feeling out there, were you?
Yeah, I had a bad start. Tried to make some position up, made a couple of mistakes, lost again. Then, unfortunately, I had a big crash a few minutes before the end, so which had to take me out because yesterday I had a little crash, a little incident. But now it's pouring down rain. It's going to be a difficult race for everyone. And I just try to make the best out of it, make it better than the first race.
I mean, like you mentioned, the rain is coming down pretty hard now. This racetrack's been changing all weekend with the weather conditions. How's it shaping up with this amount of rain?
Now it's going to be slippery, muddy, and it's just survival mode again because there are deep ruts and everything. So we will see, try to finish the race and come out with a good position.
Best of luck. Thank you, Kevin. Good luck to all the guys. It's time for MXGP Race 2.
Kevin Brumman there, just recalling his Race 1. Right, here's how the top 5 look after MXGP Race 1. Jorge Prado, who arrived here 98 points clear of Roman Fevre with the qualifying race and Race 1. He's now 105 points clear of the Kawasaki man, with Jeremy Seewer third, 72 behind the Frenchman. Glenn Koldenoff is up to fourth. He's 37 behind Seewer. And then we've got Ruben Fernandez next, 33 behind the Hoff. What a day. They should be used to it up this part of the world, though. We are not as north as we could be, but not the way we wanted the summer to welcome us here. Best seat in the house, if you don't mind getting wet up there on top of the Monster Energy rig. Take a look at how the riders line up, though, ahead of MXGP Race 2. Exactly the same as they did for the first race, and it was Jorge Prado who won the Ram qualifying race on Saturday. His 10th pole position of the season from Tim Geiser and Jeremy Seewer. Jeffrey Hurlings and Roman Fevre. Of course, difference in points there between Prado and Fevre. Calvin Villana, Ruben Fernandez, Valentin Guillot, Albi Ferrato, Benoit Pacharel, who lost his front brake with a collision with a rider in Race 1, which is why he didn't finish. And Glenn Koldenoff picking up 11th in the qualifying race ahead of his teammate Maxime Renault. Then we've got PJ, Pauls Jonas, Cornelius Tondell, Alvin Oslin, the two JWR Honda riders lining up together, 14th and 15th. Then we've got Tom Cock, Jari Havisto, Mitch Evans, Ben Watson, and the rest. Just moments away from MXGP Race 2 here, the 15th round of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Sweden at Uddevalla. Remember, it's the 25th running of this Grand Prix here. Jorge Prado, your winner from Race 1, has never stood on the top step here. He was victorious in Race 1. He won his World Championship in 2019 in MX2 here for the second time. Can he turn things around and make it to the top step? Jeremy Seewer is a two-time winner around this Grand Prix venue in the past. The third in Race 1. Can he do it here today and make it 3 wins in Uddevalla? Roman Fevre has also won a Grand Prix here in the past. Can the Kawasaki rider overturn what happened in Race 1 and take the challenge back to Jorge Prado? And Jeffrey Hurlings, another two-time winner here, along with Tim Geiser, struggling to get off the starts. We saw that in the close-up replays in the qualifying race and the race today. And he's just leaving himself with a little bit of work to do. So he just needs to focus on that and see if he can get there. But these conditions now in Race 2, going to be much of a leveler for these riders. As we said earlier on in the day, bravery may be rewarded, but you cross that line and you will get punished. Ruben Fernandez will be hoping for better than 6th place, and Tim Geiser, who had a bit of a nightmare time, he was up to 8th, down to 13th, and then back up to 10th by the time the checkered flag fell. Not where Geiser is used to battling. Likewise for Hurlings. Herlings finishing 8th in race 1. Geiser was 10th. That's the view down from behind Jorge Prado and Jeremy Seewer. It's a heavy start straight. Still a lot of water left over because it's a shale type surface here on top. Rocky underneath, shale on top. Visibility going to be a nightmare. Goggles going to be a nightmare. I'm guessing we're going to see riders utilising the goggle lane at some point during the race, if need be. Certainly if this rain continues to fall. And for those riders using only laminate tear-offs, it's going to be a constant battle for visibility. Green flag down there. The fly racing 15-second border for the final time this weekend. The MXGP of Sweden here in Uddevalla. 30 minutes plus 2 laps. Who's it going to be that grabs that foxhole shot? Race 1, it was Roman Fevre for the 4th time this year. Can he get across the stripe when he needs it most in race 2? Nobody spinning up on the skid plate. Jeremy Seewer charging down into the first turn. 11 foxhole shots for the Swiss Smurf, who leads Maxime Renault. A Yamaha 1-2. Fevre 3rd, looking to sneak into 2nd position. And he closes down the door on Maxime Renault. Prado in 4th place. Oh, Herlings in 4th, then Prado, then Geiser. Difficult to see from outer space as they went through turn 3. Renault there in 3rd, Herlings 4th, gets a better start. Geiser down the inside of Prado, taking the Spaniard. Is this going to be one of those problematic races for the number 61, who will not want to risk any kind of problems here in these conditions? He's got Ferrato behind him as well. So Geiser on the charge, getting himself into 5th. All the while, problems there for Seewer on the exit of the turn. Keeps Fevre behind him, only just. Very slick on the landing there, where it's rained on a dry surface. And Seewer, the guinea pig, in these conditions. Remember, he was 3rd in race 1. Fevre was 2nd in race 1. He would win by a point if he would stay there in front of Fevre. He just buries it, though, almost gets himself unseated. Fevre just taking a little time to have a sort out with the goggles out of that long turn. There's Prado coming into land. He's got the guy in yellow behind him, Albi Ferrato. Getting him over the line, though. Seewer and Fevre. Maxime Renault 3rd. Back from injury this weekend, remember. Been missing since Spain with a foot injury. Herlings 4, Geiser 5. That's those two going out of short. Oh, and putting the squeeze down there past pit lane. Was that Jonas on Fernandez? I think it was. So Jonas 8th, Fernandez 9. Just behind Albi Ferrato. Anything to get a track position advantage. Looking down the order here, 11th for Koldenhoff, Valandren 13, Bogus 14, Paturel 15, Evans down in 17th place. And then Tondel. Mitch Evans in for goggles, not using the goggle lane, but Yari Avisto sneaking. Right, there's Koldenhoff, so Havisto looking to find his way by, but Koldenhoff goes by instead, and that's for 10th place for the Hoff. Struggling, he's got tear-offs on the top of the roll-offs. Oh, Lupino is in. Turning into one of those seasons for the MRT beta rider. Right, here's Koldenhoff with the tear-offs flapping on the side of those goggles. Just needs to grab that. There you go. Distraction over with. Oh, and Alvin Gerhardsson, the number 52, trying to reposition the chain look. So he'll drop out of the points. Here's Prado. He's taken a couple of laps just to steady himself. He's got Geiser ahead of him. So Prado 6th. Still going to be on the podium where he is, though. But these conditions here, Reyes looks like it's abated ever so slightly. Oh, heavy landing there, though, for the 61. Here's Herlings. Still there in 4th. He's about 2.5 seconds behind Maxime Renault. These kind of conditions, you know, might be that the first half of the race will just see these riders just hanging back just to keep their visibility intact until later in the race. Foxhole shot, the 61 and the 91 side by side, but it was a better jump for the Monstrenis Yamaha rider. 11 foxhole shots now for Siwa. One more than Prado, who was tucked to the inside there in 4th. Look, Renault ran the outside, Fevre 3rd. One-handed tear-off pull as well in all that mud for the number 3. Fevre closing back in on Siwa here, though. Despite Siwa putting in the fastest lap by 3/10, and he's legging his way round there, he's in trouble. We saw that on the opening lap. Both these riders not afraid of these conditions. Fevre probably loves them more than Siwa, to be fair, though. They got about 3.5 seconds over Maxime Renault. Great welcome return for the former MX2 world champion. And these kind of conditions slowing things down ever so slightly. Here's Ferrato, the 303 on the SM Action Yuasa battery KTM. He is in 7th. He's got Prado here just ahead of him. Was good in race 1 as well. Ferrato came from about 13th, 14th place, came back to 7th position. What are his mud riding skills like as he continues to chase down the 61 of Prado? Heavy, that's going to get heavier through there as well, where they re-emerge back onto the start straight. Very difficult first turn in these conditions as well, because you're a 180 left, it's falling away, the camber falling away to the right as well. You're kind of going through there, and all of a sudden it's like, where is that connection with the berm? Oh, there it is. Then you have that confidence again, just to get the turn done. But with 23 minutes plus 2 laps to go, all eyes on this battle at the head of the field. But between Jeremy Siwa and Romain Fevre, these two separated by 1.2 seconds. Still a long way to go in this second MXGP race. A couple of little mistakes in that previous right-hander there for Romain Fevre. That's allowed Jeremy Siwa to escape momentarily. Will he just take a bit of a breather here at the moment? Again, going back to the goggles scenario, just maintain those goggles, keep that visibility intact. So Renault 3rd, Herlings 4, Geiser 5, Prado 6, Ferrato 7, Fernandez 8, Jonas 9, and Koldenhoff 10. Mitch Evans came in for goggles earlier. He's now in 18th place. And then Mitch Evans throwing away the goggles. Well, that was a good goggle change, Mitch. Rider down as Evans goes by. So not sure whether it was fogging inside the lens or whether moisture has got behind the roll-off film, if it was roll-offs, or the tear-off film. But you know when you've got problems. Anyway, he may come in for more. There's no limit as to how many goggle changes you can do in the race. But the Kawasaki rider here, Mitch Evans, number 43. You know what, let's keep our camera trained on him, shall we, for a while, just in case he does come in for freshies. Dropping down towards the line here. And Villana and Bogas have gone through on Havisto, so Havisto down to 13th place. Is he going to come in again, yes or no? No, he goes right by. Probably would have got the signal, though. But you know what? Oh, he's, you know what? There's the goggle lane. There's the entry. This time, just have a chat. And then out onto the straight there. So Evans would have been in 17th place, but did Watson go through? It's Siewert, Fevre, they're 2.8 seconds apart. Renault third, Hurlings fourth, Geiser, 3 world champions, in fact 4 world champions, second, third, fourth. Just over 20 minutes plus 2 laps to go. MXGP race 2 here. Jeremy Siewert leads. 2015 world champion Romain Fevre, 2021 MX2 world champion Maxime Renault, Jeffrey Hurlings and Tim Geiser, 2 5-time world champions and 2-time champion Jorge Prado. Here's Jeffrey Hurlings. He is still there in that 4th place, still trying to keep Maxime Renault in his sights. We just saw him dropping the other side of the ram jump there. There's Geiser in the background, and then Prado. Still plenty of time left to run in this second MXGP race. Jorge Prado knows he doesn't need to take risks in these kind of conditions, just needs to keep tabs on where his nearest challenger is, Romain Fevre. If you were to put the flag out now, guess what? It would end all square as it was at the start of the weekend. Prado with a 98-point advantage over Romain Fevre. Nothing gained, nothing lost. 4 rounds to go, he'll take that. Just needs to keep it upright on 2 wheels. You can see he was hesitant in the early lap of the race, just trying to stay out of trouble. Doesn't want to get caught in any unforeseen circumstances. Somebody runs it down the inside of you, you just clip the back end of somebody, then you've got dirty hands, gloves, handlebar grips. Then you really are on a hiding for nothing then. But Evans' pit stop did cost him because he's out of the top 20 now. Watson up to 17th, Carlson 18th, Guillaume 19th, Brumman 20th. Your final point scorer as it looks right now. But Romain Fevre, just easy on the gas, his riding style in these conditions. Helping him no end, because he knows how to use the gears, and bit of a panic rev there though. But he knows how to use the gears and just ease that throttle. Doesn't mind the back end coming around on him every now and again and just lighting up. Hurlings with his fastest lap last time around, a 2:02.7. Likewise for Prado and Ferrato. They were in the 2:03s though. Ferrato just in the back there. 2.5 seconds behind Prado as we pick up Tim Geiser, Team HRC and Honda. There's Jonas, 41 on the jump now. He's got Koldenoff behind him. These two 9th and 10th at the moment. This is going to be good enough for 5th overall for PJ. Koldenoff, though, will be 10th overall, despite 5th in race 1. Left himself with a lot of work to do. Jonas, no goggles. A little bit more paying attention in sector 3 for Koldenoff. Oh, back end lighting up through the exit of turn 1 there for Jonas, the standing construct Honda rider. Where's his teammate, Brian Bogus? He's in 12th place at the moment. Another rider making his return from injury, Paul's Jonas. Got Koldenoff behind him though. Koldenoff 2:08.0, 2:09.2 for Jonas. So not a lot in it between those two. But 16.5 minutes plus 2 to go. Circuit now battered with heavy rain for the last 2 weeks. Few dry days on the run up to the Grand Prix. Heavy rain overnight. Left the track in a little something of a sorry state, but it gradually started to dry out, even though there were only 1 or 2 lines in the first MX2 and MXGP races. But with the big downpour that we had towards the end of MX2, race 2, and continued rainfall here, although a lot easier now. Circuit conditions a little bit tricky. You have to be mindful. You have to read the track well. Jonas, while he's not directly on the rear wheel of Ruben Fernandez ahead of him, won't be getting roosted, but as soon as he starts to get close, every opportunity that he does get close and then he's just in touching distance, he might get the odd roost up in the face there off that rear wheel of the HRC man ahead of him. Next Grand Prix, Arnhem in the Netherlands. A week from now, that'll be music to the ears of Glenn Koldenhoff. Home race for him, quite literally, just as Os was a couple of years ago. Yeah, backmarker even trying to avoid the roost there as Koldenhoff goes through. Concentration on Jonas's face there as he gets to the end of pit lane. He doesn't have goggles, Koldenhoff does, which means he can get closer to the rear wheel of the Latvian. Verlanderen back in 11th place. 4 seconds behind these two. He's got about 3 seconds over Bogas. Here's Prado. Goggles still intact. Important that. And Hurling's being caught by Geiser ever so slightly. So just over 14 minutes to go. Prado continues to lead the championship. Going to have a healthy margin still, just as he did coming into this round here in Sweden. 98 points. That's what it's going to be when he leaves here as well. He's going to have the biggest smile on his face, isn't he, the Red Bull Gas rider? Just turning out to be his year at the moment. Right, Geiser and Hurlings looking like they're just upping their tempo ever so slightly. Be a bit one-upmanship between these two. Hurlings will be thinking, well, I can show that I can still beat Tim Geiser, and Geiser will be looking at, well, you know, I came from behind and passed Jeffrey Hurlings. Little feather in the cap, but a little untidy there for the 5-time champ Geiser. Hurlings chasing his front wheel through that first turn. Not much happening here, though. These deep, muddy conditions just causing 1 or 2 problems. A little bit offline there, but managed to keep it in the line, Jorge Prado. We were hoping that race 2 was going to be a little bit more eventful with the work they did in the break between race 1 and MX2 race 2. But with this downpour of rain again, it's definitely thrown a spanner in the works. But Siwa continues to lead. He's almost 3 seconds clear of Fevre now, with 12.5 plus 2 to go. We just saw Albi Ferrato closing in on Prado a moment ago. He's about 1.5 seconds behind the championship leader. Jeremy Siwa, though, now 3.7 seconds clear of Romain Fevre as he continues to lead MXGP Race 2. Pulled his 11th foxhole shot of the season. And this will be good enough for a Grand Prix victory as well for him, if he can stay where he is. Looking good at the moment, though. Almost 4 seconds clear now. Just needs to keep his mind free of any distractions. Nicely up on the pegs through there, though. Got to be careful when you jump up there, not to cross-rut the front wheel. Very easy to do that, just to misjudge that. But never been bothered so far this race. The Smurf back end lighting up. That just tells you how tricky the racetrack is as well. Even with a 4-second advantage, you think you've got everything in check, and then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, back end lights up, both feet off, a little bit Speedway-esque. Latvian Grand Prix has just happened last night, Speedway. Wouldn't have been out of place there, Jezza. You can hear how low the revs are as well. These bikes just don't want to rev these things, don't want to get too much wheel spin. Ten and a half minutes plus 2. We're on lap 9, MXGP race 2 in Sweden, the MXGP of Sweden at Uddevalla. Jeremy Seewer now 4.2 seconds clear of Roman Fevre. The Kawasaki rider just coming into view there in the background here on the number 3 Kawasaki. Things stay as they are. He will leave here 98 points behind Jorge Prado, just as he did on the way in to this Grand Prix in Sweden. Definitely feeling a little bit frustrated now is the number 3. Start of the first race, I asked the question, is time running out for him? And the answer to that, with a 98-point deficit to make up, still remains yes, but while you've still got 240 points on the table after this weekend, anything can happen. Motocross is unpredictable. You'll believe that while there are still points on the table, while there's still a chance, then he'll believe that to be the case. But it's getting to the point now where he's definitely going to be running out of time, because at some point you've got to say, right, 120 points, 100 points, and you know, it becomes mathematically impossible. But when is that moment? When does that point come? Tim Geiser here in red. Team HRC still has Hurlings just ahead of him. There's Prado. He is under attack here from Albi Ferrato. That'll take the lead down to 97 points if Prado gets passed by Ferrato. Not sure he'll resist any challenge if the big man comes up the inside of him. But he'll just keep on doing what he's doing. He'll hold track position. There is still a definitive drier line. Not a dry line, but one that's less precarious. Oh, Geiser's back end swapping there. He's lost some ground there in the last couple of corners because Prado all over the back of him now. Hurlings at the top of the hill, breaking free. About a second and a half, 2.8 seconds now, that gap. So Prado may use that to his advantage. Because if he can find his way past Geiser, it'll be another point to the good. Takes it back out to 99-ish. Geiser responding well to the mistake. Right, Koldenhoff is now up into 9th place. Spent a long time following Paul's Jonas. Jonas now down in 10th place. Here's how he did it. Couple of corners from the flag, down the inside, drag race towards the ram jump. And he had the advantage as well at the end of the straight. And of course, he's not going to be able to stick onto the rear wheel of him as well because he's got no goggles, Paul's Jonas. Koldenhoff now, up into 9th. Seewer now almost home and dry, 5.5 seconds clear. Fevre still there second. Renault has been fantastic in 3rd. Here he is. Monster in his Yamaha rider, 9.59. Hurlings bearing down on him though on the number 84 Red Bull KTM. Can Hurlings get himself a top 3 finish here? What will that do to his? Well, it won't affect the podium situation. It'll just give him another couple of points. He'll be on 33. But Maxime Renault, steady in race 1, couple of mistakes. He was in 7th, he fell, came back down in 13th position. But 3rd here in race 2, that'll boost his confidence, first race back. Hopefully the sand a week's time from now at Arnhem in the Netherlands will be a little kinder to us weather-wise. You watch, it'll be absolutely scorchio, 38 degrees or something, and deep, brutal conditions. Stranger things have happened. Watson being demoted to 20th, Guillaume going through in 19th place. How much of this can, was in 20th. Ben Watson pushing that MRT beta back then. Disappointing Grand Prix for him. Didn't score in, 19th in race 1, no points in race 2. Hurling's looking across. Wants to see how far Seawer and Fevre are ahead of him. Well, the answer is about 30 seconds. 28 to be exact. They still believe down there in pit lane. Maximino can hold his nerve here. I'm sure he can. Doesn't mind the odd little bit of mud. But he's just coming unstuck here, using that same line. Maybe just a little bit tentative. Doesn't want to try any lines this late on in the race. Any new lines, I should say. Meanwhile, Seawer's gap now out to 11 seconds almost over Romain Fevre. Renault 16 seconds behind his fellow Frenchman here in 3rd place. The rider in black with the yellow numbers. Hurling's not letting him off the hook. A moment there, though, for Renault. Just over-jumped, landed in a bit of a hole. Handlebars snatched out of his hands. Be a warning sign for him. Watch this here. Comes into land here. And then just lost the front. Probably nothing in it, but looked worse than it was. Geiser is closing in as well, once more. In that 5th position. 3rd rider in shot now. Prado doesn't need to push onto these guys. He'll be happy to pick up that 6th place. Be mindful of the fact that Ferrato is behind him, but it looks like he's broken free from the Italian. There he is, bottom right corner of the screen in yellow. There's Fevre across the top of the screen. But Renault leading up this quartet of riders here in 3rd, with Hurlings, Geiser and Prado, 4th, 5th and 6th. Rain finally deciding to disappear. That inside-outside combination obviously not working now. Everybody pretty much going inside through the first part. It was very, very deep on the exit if you went outside through the chicane at the end of the pit lane area in race 1. Things finally brightening up outside. Better late than never, I guess, but 2.5 minutes plus 2 to go. All of these riders that are racers, they like to make passes, they like to move forward. Just getting frustrated at the inability to be able to do so. Track conditions playing their part in that, of course. At what point does Hurlings decide to say, right, got to go for broke here? Valentin Guillaume getting left there in 19th position. Just up on the pegs in cruise mode, just trying to see this one out. Remember, he's coming in nursing what was a broken shoulder blade. Oh, Renault almost comes to grief there when he came into land. Somehow manages to stay ahead of Jeffrey Hurlings. Good test of Renault's character, this first race back since Spain. Watch this here. Takes a look over his shoulder, but then there, look, just a little bit offline. Looks worse than it was from the overhead. Been out since round 6 in Spain. Prado, you know. I wonder if there's going to be a last. We've got 3 laps to go, and Jorge Prado, 61, back of this shot here, in that 6th position. I would not be surprised if he says, you know what, 2 or 3 laps to go. Let's see if I can pick off Geiser, see if I can go after Hurlings, just to really rub salt in the wounds of Roman Fevre, because at the moment that gap remains at 98 points. But all of a sudden, Jorge Prado is looking like saying, you know what, I will attack Tim Geiser and I will attack Jeffrey Hurlings. He sat there, bided his time, kept his goggles clean, and he's putting himself in a position where he can just pick off more points and take the championship lead to more than 100 points. He goes wide, cuts back to the inside. He's alongside Geiser here. Got a back marker in his line of sight, though. Max Spies, who can't do anything, can't get out of the rut. And in the end, it's Prado who has to get out of there earlier. Well, he's shown that he has the pace of Geiser. I think Geiser knows that as well, and I think he's got a bit of a lick on here. And with Hurlings going wide and manoeuvres like this, round the outside, you give someone like Prado half a chance to have a look up the inside. Well, he'll take it with both hands, won't he? Two-lap board getting readied. Jeremy Seewer here, uphill. 2-lap board goes out to his right. Been a fantastic display this from Jeremy Seewer on the Monster Energy Yamaha. Roman Fevre, no answer for him on that Kawasaki. The Kawasaki racing team, MXGP. Maxime Renault, though, still has his hands full. Bottom of the hill, turning left, up towards the finish line now. Jeffrey Hurlings, Tim Geiser and Jorge Prado. Prado, the one looking the most menacing here. Or he was a lap ago, maybe. He's decided, no, we'll sack that challenge off. Because you can see he's already lost ground to Tim Geiser, but it looked like he could have made a challenge a lap ago. Hurlings there, jumping long. Almost coming to grief in that left-hander as well. Going back to what I said earlier, got to get those things absolutely perfect, because if you land with your front wheel the wrong side, that can end in tears. Still not able to find a way through on Maxime Renault. It's been a very processional race, this MXGP Race 2 in the end. Track conditions not helping, rain not helping. Track drying out, just 1 or 2 lines, mostly riders on the same line. And it has been, you watch the lap chart, if you look at the lap chart later online, there won't be too many passes up or down the leaderboard. Seewer won't mind about that, though, as he prepares to take the 1-lap board. One lap to go for Jeremy Seewer. 2:06 last time around. Fevre 5.7 seconds further back now. There he is through turn 1, just under the foxhole shot line. This battle, well, I wouldn't call it a battle now, actually. This freight train that's been there from the very first lap. Renault, Hurlings, Geiser, Prado and Ferrato continues. But Prado looking interested once more. He's got himself back onto the rear wheel of Geiser. We saw him have a sneaky look down into turn 4, between turn 4 and turn 5 a couple of laps ago, before Max Spies just kind of inadvertently intervened. He thought he was off the race line. And Jorge Prado again going after it. Hurlings offline again. A mistake there for the Bullet. 2 laps in a row. The last time, though, wasn't that bad, but this one, though, almost caught him out. And dare I say it, we almost had a pass Prado looking to go around Geiser, but can only look up at the 5-time champ as he takes off on the Monster Energy jump. But this is 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th on the final lap. Geiser a little bit out of shape, wrestling that Honda of his, brings it back into line, brings it back under control. Almost lost that 5th position.